2 of the 2023 NFL Draft is in the books, and wow, it was pretty exciting to say the least. Tyler Jones, Will Scott here with you to look back on rounds number 2 and 3. And it all started at pick number 32 by the Pittsburgh Steelers as they brought home a familiar name, Joey Porter Jr., the son of Steelers legend Joey Porter, is headed to Pittsburgh. And, Will, that really got the night rolling with the next pick, Will Levis, headed to Tennessee. Now that quarterback room includes Tannehill, Willis, and Levis.
It was shocking that both Joey Porter Jr. and Will Levis were on the board here to start day 2. They're the first 2 picks of day 2. And like you said, that quarterback room in Tennessee is very interesting.
No doubt about it. And some other notable picks that we'll run through. Michael Mayer was passed over, did not go through in the first round. He lands in Las Vegas, and they now have the replacement for Darren Waller.
Yeah, that's going to be a great fit, I think, for Michael Mayer. And that's someone else who we did not expect to be on the board here to start the day. He goes to Las Vegas, number 35 overall. And then Steve Avila, really like this pick from the Rams. He started all 15 games along that TCU offensive line this season. Did not allow 1 sack.
Other notable picks, 39, Carolina goes with Jonathan Mingo, wide receiver from Ole Miss. We know that Bryce Young is going to be the quarterback there. Now he's got a pretty decent weapon there to work with that he's familiar with, played in the same conference in the SEC.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think Carolina wanted to go receiver here in the second round. They've added to that receiver room after losing DJ Moore. They got DJ Chark, now Jonathan Mingo, and of course got Adam Thielen in free agency as well.
Yes, and moving on to some more picks. Julius Brents from Kansas State got a lot of love in about the last month of the draft. He ends up 44 to the Indianapolis Colts. This, to me, is a very good pick from Indy and in what is a very good year for corners in this draft.
Yeah, I agree. Brent's really good value there at number 44 overall, and Indy really needed a corner, and they got a good one with the Kansas State product.
Brian Branch, the safety from Alabama, heads to the Detroit Lions at 45. The Lions were heavily criticized for the moves they made in the first round of the draft, but, Will, I think they had a nice rebound, a nice recovery tonight with the picks they made in the second and third round.
It's funny you say that. They're probably a loser in day 1, a winner in day 2. We'll break down some more picks they made in a second, but that Branch pick was phenomenal. I cannot believe he was still on the board at number 45.
Keion White headed to the New England Patriots. Some people had a first-round grade on him. Edge rusher from Georgia Tech. Good pick by Belichick here to add to that defense.
Yeah, I agree. Keion White had a great season at Georgia Tech. A good pick here, I think, at number 46.
Other picks include Quan Martin to the Commanders, the safety out of Illinois. A lot of Illinois defensive players getting some love in this draft. Cody Mock, offensive guard from North Dakota State, headed to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 48. What was the best pick from day 2 of the NFL draft? Whether it was in the second round or the third round, let us know in the comments section what you think that was. Tell us one pick that you think stood out among the rest. Then looking at some of the other picks here, Green Bay going with Jaden Reed, wide receiver Michigan State. How about Cam Smith, Will, to your Miami Dolphins? Corner wasn't necessarily a need for Miami, but Cam Smith, a very talented player.
Oh, yeah, he's talented.
One of those deals where they felt like they couldn't pass on a player of his caliber.
He probably was best player on the Dolphins board, but the Dolphins only have 4 draft picks. I think they needed to maximize their picks on some team needs. They could have gone tight end. They could have gone offensive line. They take a corner when they have Xavier Howard, Jalen Ramsey, Nick Needham, Cater Kohu, True Williams. Didn't make a whole lot of sense for me.
Zach Charbonnet headed to the Seattle Seahawks at 52, the running back from UCLA. The Seahawks already have Kenneth Walker, but now you get him a running mate with Zach Charbonnet. We've seen the Seahawks, their history of picking running backs high in the draft, and they do so again here. In the way that the Seahawks want to run the football, you got to have multiple guys to do so. Although running back wasn't the highest priority for the Seahawks, it was something they needed to take advantage of. They do so here at 52. Other notable picks here, 55, we see the Rice Man himself going to the Kansas City Chiefs. Every single year, Will, Brett Veach finds a way early in the draft to get Patrick Mahomes a weapon. He did it again.
We were wondering if they were going to go wide receiver last night. They take Felix Anudike-Uzomah. It was a great pick. They decided to go wide receiver tonight in round 2 with Rashee Rice.
Tyreek Stevenson, the corner from Miami, going to the Chicago Bears at 56. Stevenson was thought to be one of the better second-round corners entering this weekend. Chicago with a nice find here.
Yeah, they traded up to get him. I don't think he was going to be on the board for much longer.
No doubt about it. Subscribe to the channel. Will, not only are we doing NFL draft coverage all weekend long, and we'll be live for day 3, but we also talk the NBA, college football, and more here on the channel.
Yeah, absolutely. We bring you all the coverage you need. If you're a sports fan, you have come to the right place. Subscribe, because we bring you NFL coverage year-round, also NBA and college football coverage as well.
Yes, and as we mentioned, we'll be live day 3, and I'm sure all eyes, in particular in this office, are going to be on where Stetson Bennett ends up, whether he's drafted or not.
He is not going to be drafted. That's my prediction.
I hope he's
we'll
not.
See.
Also, Deuce Vaughn, certainly a lot of excitement about him as well. We'll cover it all coming up tomorrow. Make sure and join us there. 57, the Giants, they needed a center. They found John Michael Schmitz, who might have been the best center in this draft. And Will, looking at the centers the last couple of years, you had Tyler Linderbaum last year, first round to Baltimore, Creed Humphrey the year prior to Kansas City. History tells us that these centers have been pretty good, kind of undervalued, and I think that was the case here with Michael Schmitz.
I was surprised he wasn't the first center off the board. That was Joe Tippmann, about 20, maybe 10, 20 picks per hour. I can't remember exactly. But John Michael Schmitz, in my opinion, was the best center in this draft. The Giants needed some depth there on that offensive line, and John Michael Schmitz is a phenomenal pick.
Luke Schoonmaker, tight end from Michigan. Schoonmaker is headed to the Dallas Cowboys at 58. And the Cowboys were trying to replace Dalton Schultz. They make this move here, although I don't think he was the best tight end on the board when they were picking.
No, we'll talk about where Darnell Washington ended up here in a second. But I thought Schoonmaker, was going to be a late 3rd, maybe early 4th. He goes round 2.
Osiris Torrance out of Florida, offensive guard, started his career in the Sun Belt Conference, was an all Sun Belt player at Louisiana Lafayette. He and Billy Napier then head to Florida, where he was an all-SEC first-team performer this year. He goes to the Bills, and they get a really good pick here in Osiris Torrance.
Yeah, he's absolutely phenomenal. Like you said, 4-year starter at the collegiate level. I think 3 of those years were at guard. So he's very experienced, and Buffalo gets a good one there in the second round.
Other notable picks, let's go to 63. Marvin Mims out of Oklahoma, the wide receiver, headed to the Denver Broncos. Will, the Broncos had a good night. Marvin Mims to close out the second round. Here's a guy that I got to tell you, I think he was undervalued. I think he was as good as most of the receivers in this draft. You get Russell Wilson a weapon here that can do it all in Marvin Mims.
Yeah, and then they get another steal in the 3rd round, taking Drew Sanders, the linebacker out of Arkansas. So like you said, Tyler, the Broncos had a really good night, and then Hendon Hooker finally off the board, the pick following Drew Sanders at number 68. Thought the Lions might go quarterback a little bit earlier. They wait till the 3rd round, and they get one of the best ones in this class.
And this is a team that makes sense of the Hendon Hooker situation with the ACL. We don't know necessarily when Hendon Hooker's going to be able to play next year. And so with Jared Goff there coming off maybe the best season of his career, there's no need to rush Hendon Hooker out there. He can take his time.
This is a really good situation
for recovery. No doubt about it. Tank Dell headed to Houston, staying in H-Town. Probably can't stay in the dorm room, but nonetheless, he'll have a nice place to live after the 69th selection in this draft. Bryce Young gets, or C.J. Stroud rather, gets a nice receiver here in the 3rd round to play with.
Tank Dell was mocked to the Texans a lot. Obviously, the Houston connection had something to do with that. 17 touchdowns last season for the Cougs. Awesome pick for the Texans.
Kendre Miller headed to the Saints, running back from TCU. Another very good football player, good pass catcher. Garrett Williams headed to Arizona, the corner from Syracuse. Will, there were concerns about his injury history.
I think he would have been a first-round pick had he not torn his ACL this past season at Syracuse. So good value there in the 3rd round for Arizona.
We move ahead to 73 and 74. That's where we find the 2 star receivers from Tennessee. Jalen Hyatt to the Giants, Cedric Tillman to the Browns. Both these teams were looking for receiver help, and they got it here with the two cats from the Volunteers.
Yeah, Jalen Hyatt, man, phenomenal pick for the Giants. They get their guy at 73, and then Cedric Tillman was actually the Browns' first pick in this entire draft, number 74 overall.
Other names to watch, Byron Young, edge rusher from Tennessee, heads to the Rams at 77. Josh Downs, another receiver from North Carolina, going to Indy at 79. Josh Downs, some people felt like could have been a first-round pick. Good value for Indianapolis here at 79 for their new quarterback, Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, they're getting Richardson some help there with Josh Downs. There were some good wide receivers taken today, man. Like you said, some first-round talent guys that fell here to the third round.
81, Tyjae Spears from Tulane goes to Tennessee. Averaged a nice 6.9 yards per carry at Tulane this past year. We don't know about Derrick Henry's future. Spears might have a starting running back job on his hands here, depending on what they do with Derrick Henry.
I think Tennessee's preparing for life after King Henry. Of course, he's been in trade rumors, going to be a free agent after next season.
Well, I know you were pretty excited about this Dolphins pick.
Yeah, Devon Achane, a really solid pick here for Miami. They needed some running back help. That was my third biggest team need for the Dolphins behind offensive line and tight end. I thought they were going to go tight end today. I'm very surprised they didn't, but Devon Achane, man, fastest player in this draft. Mike McDaniel likes those track stars.
For sure. Some other notable picks. Trenton Simpson goes to the Ravens at 86. I was thinking that the Ravens were going to go corner. They've ignored those with their first two picks, trying to find the replacement for Marcus Peters. Trenton Simpson, though, maybe the best middle linebacker in this draft. Tank Bigsby headed to the Jags at 88, the running back out of Auburn. It's not just the name, Will. He is a tank, and the Jags looking for that number 2 running back there. Bigsby will be a nice compliment there to Travis Etienne.
Yeah, he's outstanding, quick and really powerful. And then maybe my favorite pick here, late third round, was DeMarvion Overshown. From Texas, went to the University of Texas, staying in his home state to play professional football. Cowboys fans thrilled about that pick, I think.
93, the Pittsburgh Steelers go with Darnell Washington.
Biggest steal of the draft.
He had a first-round grade, according to most folks. Then we hear about some injury concerns for the tight end from Georgia. He slips to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, I think we're going to be seeing them play a lot of 12 personnel. Kenny Pickett's got to be pretty happy. And think about the situation for Pittsburgh, too. Last year, George Pickens came from Georgia, same school as Darnell Washington, with an injury history. He was one of the best rookies in the entire NFL. Darnell Washington, the injury issues, headed from Georgia, headed to the Steelers. A scenario that the Steelers are familiar with here.
Yeah, you mentioned George Pickens last year. He fell because of injury issues. He had a great rookie season. I expect Darnell to be more of the same. And Darnell Washington was my favorite tight end prospect in this entire class, and it was a good tight end class. That says a lot. Washington is 6'7". The guy is like if you put LeBron James on a football field. I mean, that is the type of player that he is. The dude's an absolute freak. He won the NFL Combine, ran a 4.64 40, had the second highest athleticism score of anybody at the Combine. And the guy is obviously very dynamic in the passing game, but he also acts as a sixth offensive lineman with his run blocking ability. Pittsburgh, congratulations. You are one of the big winners of the draft.
Michael Wilson, a lot of upside, but some injury problems at Stanford. He's headed to Arizona. Jordan Battle to the Bengals, safety out of Alabama at 95.
Love that pick.
The Bengals lost a lot at safety. Jordan Battle probably going to start from day one.
Yeah, Jesse Bates replacement right there. Love Jordan Battle. We talked about this earlier. I don't know why he wasn't getting more first, second round hype. The guy was a leader on that Alabama defense, was great year in and year out. Outstanding pick for Cincinnati.
And Broderick Martin, the defensive lineman from Western Kentucky, headed to the Lions at 96. Head to our draft channel where we are talking about the draft all year long. Even when the draft is over tomorrow, that doesn't stop us from getting ready for the 2024 NFL Draft. And that is the place to be. For more NFL coverage, we got you covered. Subscribe now for free and turn on notifications. YouTube.com/chatNFL. We're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers before the end of the weekend. Need a little less than 400 to do so. Subscribe now for free. You'll be glad you did. Well, as we wrap up the first round here, Ricky Stromberg from Arkansas. That's a guy that I like a lot. He's out of the great city of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Union High School kid. I would think that Stromberg has a chance to start right away for Washington.
I would agree. Great value there, late third. And that's not a typo you're seeing on your screen, by the way. The Niners actually took Jake Moody, the kicker from Michigan, in the third round.
Oh, no. You can't pick a kicker.
That is not a typo. That's real. That's something that actually happened. And then the Niners took Cameron Latu in the third round as well, their second pick in the third round, the tight end from Alabama, who most people had a fifth or sixth round grade on. They take him in the third round.
At 101.
That was a little bit surprising as well. And then Mekhi Blackman, the last pick of round 3, 102 overall, the corner from USC, going to Minnesota. We talked about Minnesota maybe going corner. They did so with the last pick of the third round.
So let us know, folks. Shout out your favorite team and grade their draft so far. Let us know what you think about how your team did so far through the third round of the draft. Day 2 in the books. Day 3 coming up tomorrow. Rounds 4 through 7. Well, a lot of fun tonight bringing you the draft action here on the channel. We will be back tomorrow. Make sure and join us then. Well, a lot of fun this evening.
Oh, it's a great time, Tyler. Always a pleasure to work with you, and looking forward to doing it again tomorrow. Be sure to tune in tomorrow morning, grab a cup of coffee, and join us for some Day 3 NFL Draft coverage.